Consumption sites province-wide will effectively be banned as the province takes a treatment approach to addiction. But as Global News discovered, the province was initially urged to go in the opposite direction. Global's Isaac Callan joins me now from Queen's Park. Isaac, two expert reports commissioned by the Ontario government actually recommended allowing drug inhalation at supervised consumption sites. Based on the documents you have, it looks like the suggestion made it to the short list.
Yeah, that's right, Colin. Last year, the government was told effectively to expand supervised consumption sites in Ontario by allowing supervised inhalation, allowing people to smoke drugs inside these supervised consumption sites. That's an idea that's been around for a while. It was on a Toronto public health recommendation in 2023. It was also, like you say, on two recommendations from experts appointed by the province. Those experts were appointed also in 2023 after a shooting at a supervised consumption site, or just outside one, in Toronto, which triggered a full review of the supervised consumption system and led to that suggestion that expanding to include inhalation was a good idea. The argument behind supervised inhalation is essentially that since the province, the Ford government, introduced supervised consumption sites in 2018, the number of deaths from overdoses from injection has decreased pretty significantly, but at the same time the number of deaths from people smoking drugs, inhaling and having an overdose has increased substantially. In 2018, about 15% of overdoses from opioids in Ontario were from inhalation. By 2023, that number was up to 49%. But like you say, documents we got this week from the Ministry of Health show that the suggestion was taken at least somewhat seriously within the government. It made a short list of just 3 suggestions for how to overhaul the supervised consumption system and was within that discussion process at the Ministry of Health. But what we also know, Colin, is that the government ultimately went in the other direction. It's decided to shut 10 supervised consumption sites by the end of March and ban any new ones from opening. But that hasn't stopped at least one advocate from asking the province still to change its mind, to include supervised inhalation and to listen to the advice that it commissioned.
They'd had the reports for many months, and I'm sure it was a factor in them thinking, but they decided not to take their own internal advice, not to take the advice that they paid for, and to go in a different direction. I think it's still not too late to take all these great ideas from these reports and to implement them. It just takes a bit of investment to do this in a better way.
Right, so obviously that's not going to happen. What is the latest with the existing consumption sites, which are all slated for closure?
Yeah, Colin, they really are in their last few days. Their last chance really comes this Monday and Tuesday, when a lawsuit from some of the supervised consumption sites that are slated for closure is going to have its day in court. In the short term, they're looking for an injunction to pause the closure that they're facing on March the 31st, at least until a fuller case can be heard. They're making the argument, a charter challenge, a constitutional challenge, that the law that is set to close them down should be thrown out by a court. That case won't be heard until later, but in the short term, they're hoping that a judge will grant them that injunction, will keep them open for another few weeks on Monday or Tuesday. But if they don't, Colin, a week after that case is heard, on March the 31st, 10 supervised consumption sites in Ontario will close and be replaced by addiction hubs the Ford government says is the way forward.
All right, we'll be watching that court battle closely. Thanks so much, Isaac Callan at Queen's Park.